Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? I hope you had a fantastic start to your week. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Latrice Drayton, and I am owner of Gideon Property Services, a focused real estate group here in the Alachua County area. I'm so excited to have you guys back again. So last week, we talked about the importance of really balancing that landlord and resident relationship and how overall that affects your profit. So if you missed that, feel free to check it out. This week, we are going to be talking about days on the market, right? Days on the market. I get that question all the time from landlords. Latrice, how long will my property be on the market? And that is such a fully loaded question. I wanted to be able to break down for you guys today, what are days on the market? Why is that important to you as a landlord? And what are the factors that's involved with deciding your number of days on the market? So days on the market is the time frame that we track between when you put your property on the market for rent all the way until you secure a new and qualified resident for your property. So when I'm thinking about it and I'm putting it into perspective, I like to think about it that days on the market equals demand. Days on the market equals demand. And that's why it's truly difficult, even as a real estate professional, when we get the question of how many days will my property be on the market? It's really hard to pinpoint that because we never know when your new resident will actually view your property and when they will decide to move forward with it, right? Our job is to make sure that whenever that is, we are prepared and we're ready for it, okay? What we can do, however, is we can do our research, we can do our due diligence, and make sure that we look at all the different factors, and we can give you an estimated time frame of when we can expect your property to be on the market. So let's jump right in. One factor that is decided when talking about your days on the market is location. Location is very, very important. Now, after you already have a property, I tend not to drill down on this too much just because location is one of those things that you cannot change, right? It's something we have very little control over. But when you are acquiring a property for investment purposes, if you're seeking to be a long-term landlord, location is something you want to take into consideration very heavily, okay? In some areas, people are waiting for properties to go on the market and they're snatching them up. So it may be a 1 week or 2 week time frame and they're off the market. For other areas, that's not the case. So we do look at that closely and it is very unique to each area, okay? The second thing that's really involved in the days on the market is your marketing. I get this all the time where people like to skip and hop over marketing and they really don't think they need it. So this is one of the areas where we really can change your perspective on how you think about the marketing for your property, okay? When a resident decides on a property, they make an emotional connection first and a logical decision second. So when you're thinking about the marketing for your property, it's very, very important to understand that you are creating an online emotional connection for your new resident, and that's why that marketing is so important. So yes, having professional photos help, making sure that your listing description is terrific, making sure that you're in every place possible when marketing and you have the maximum exposure possible is very important, and that's where using that professional comes in really handy for you as a landlord, okay? Very, very important to you. Now, even as you're marketing the property, say you have excellent marketing, the next part that factors into your days on the market is equally as important, having your property ready. So once your prospect makes that online emotional connection, they're going to actually show up to your property and they're going to want to see it. And when they get there, they need to see that it's clean, that it's not a maintenance needy property, and that it's ready to go. So if you have those things in line and in place, they really do work hand in hand with each other. All right. The fourth thing that is really important for the days on the market for your property is price. Price is a huge, huge factor. Now, here is the mistake, red flag, right? I get this all the time where landlords like to overprice their property. So we've given them all the information, they've taken a look at the market, they looked at the comparables, and now they want to overprice the property. Now, have we done that before? Yes, we have, but you have to understand the implications that come along with doing that, right? So let's go back to originally when we stated days on the market equals demand for your property. So when you think about it in that aspect and you say, hey, is an overpriced property in high demand right now, right? So if you're looking to decrease that number of days on the market and an overpriced property is not in high demand, those two goals do not necessarily align. So you want to make sure that you look at that very, very closely. Price is important. If your property is overpriced, it will be passed by, just because your resident has a lot of different options out there and a lot of different comparable properties that they have to choose from. So you want to be very, very mindful of that. Okay? So the fifth thing that we want to go over is seasonality, right? Seasonality is really important for your overall days on the market. What does that mean? So when we talk about peak season and slow season here within the rental market, what we're really referring to is the transition of people, right? What percentage of people, how many people are transitioning during that time frame and making their next move regarding their rental property. So when we say peak season, that's the time when people are transitioning most. And when we say it's a slow season, that's when people are transitioning least. So I get that question a lot too. When are people transitioning? When is the best time for me to put my property on the market? So we'll answer that. So based on 2017 statistics and ones before that, right, we are seeing a trend here in the Alachua County area. This will change depending on the market. But here for Alachua County, the best time to list your property is May through August. May through August is what we consider our peak season. Okay, now to put that in perspective for you, we lease more properties May through August than all of the other months combined. Okay, that's the reason why we call it our peak season. So the next season under that, and I've broken this down in kind of 3 chunks for you. So the first one is May through August. The second one is January through April. January through April, okay? Again, we're not leasing as many properties. There's not as many people making transitions, but we definitely see that as kind of our second mid-season here in the area. Our slow season we would consider is September through December. September through December is the time where people are making the least amount of transitions. Now, it doesn't mean you can't list your property during that time frame. It does not mean that at all. However, it does mean that they are making less transitions, so we do have to take that into consideration when considering your pricing, and also when you're thinking about your overall days on the market, right? It will extend the number of days on the market. Now, the great news that we are seeing here in the Alachua County area is we are seeing an overall days on the market of about 48 days. And we're seeing that consistently through each one of those seasons. And that's something that is continuing to get better over time. How long that will last? We're really not sure, but right now we are seeing that upward trend, which is very important to you. What that means is no matter what your transition is, that it is a great time in either one of those seasons to list your property. Okay, so again, we are seeing about 48 days on the market average, and your property in particular, we want to make sure we take a unique look at that, because your property may lease prior to that 48-day average, or it may lease a little bit longer than that. It may take a little bit longer to lease, okay? And sometimes it has nothing to do with your property overall, but that's why it's important to look at all of those factors. Make sure, it's kind of like juggling, right? You want to make sure that you're juggling all of the pieces, because if not, then you could be really affecting your days on the market and your overall vacancy. All right, well, that's all the tips that I have for you guys today. Hopefully that helped. And if you have any questions or comments or anything that you want to discuss, feel free to let me know, and I'll be sure to go over that. All right, until next time.